I think it's possible that TRVL still goes down. I think we're pushing up in this kind of roughly drawn, this kind of channel. This is the weekly time frame. But eventually there's going to be an exhaustion of people buying, market buying. You see, this is the thing I was explaining yesterday in my stream. The only way for the price to go up is market buys in the current context of TRVL, because we don't have any perpetuals or derivatives. Yeah, so you can't short squeeze up, and that's a real problem. And we're only going to get that kind of hysteric market buying in the future when Bitcoin goes above the all-time high, and when retail gets involved. Retail won't, generally speaking, retail won't use derivatives. They're the ones who are going to be spot market buying retail, right? We're not going to get the retail involved until Bitcoin goes above its own all-time high. Then a lot of people won't go into Bitcoin. They'll go into altcoins. They're not going to go into derivatives because most of retail don't know how to use derivatives. Don't know, and they're too scared of it. And so naturally, they'll just go into the spot markets on lower cap altcoins, and they'll just be market buying, trying to fill their bags. And that is the prime time for a token like TRVL to go up fast. And also, a lot of people don't understand about slippage. They don't understand about limit orders. They just market buy because they're just trying to fill the bags and trying to get rich quick. So that's the time that we're waiting for. Until that time, we're going to be in a higher time frame accumulation pattern. And what's going to happen is that it could, because we're pushing the highs of this value area range, it's possible that people will start taking profit. And due to the lack of market buyers, the only way necessarily potentially to fill your sell orders is to market sell. And so that's what we're experiencing here. We're experiencing some market selling. That's what this is. Yeah, because people are just filling their positions and then market sell. Doesn't mean that there aren't buyers, but the buyers at the moment in this market are going to probably be limit longs, not market longs. The behavior in this range was very different to the behavior we're experiencing now. In this range, we were expecting some kind of breakout, possibly on the anticipation of tokenomics changes. And so we were seeing a lot of market longs. The sellers were exhausted and the price shot up. And then this behavior now is people who sold into that rise were just trying to reposition themselves at lower prices. Yeah. And again, it takes a long time to get back in if you've sold a large amount of TRVL because of the illiquid nature of the market, because of the, relatively speaking, the low volume. So if someone has managed to dump a couple of million of TRVL at the highs here, they're not going to want to be out of position for a long period of time. So naturally, as the price comes down to in the right levels, they're going to market buy just to get repositioned in, right? Because they don't want to lose their position, because you'll feel naked if you're out of position, especially in a market like this when you're holding support. You know, there's a lot of news announcements upcoming. Sensei is one of the big ones, and we're not far away from that. So you don't want to be out of position for a long time if you've sold into that rise. And so naturally we're seeing some bigger entities buy up the price at market because they want to reposition back in, right? So that's the kind of behavior we're experiencing, but we're not seeing continuation. And we're not seeing continuation because we are in the highs of this value area range, and we're basically trapped. We're trapped between these higher levels and then some lower levels. Now, I would say initially this is the lower level above this range, but it's very, because we saw this long green candle, it's very possible we come right back down to the point of control. I think this is very possible. And so what I'm imagining now is, whereas before I was potentially contemplating two ranges forming, and we were in the higher range with that being a dividing line, I'm now thinking to myself, maybe we just did one range now, just one overall, and we just formed one big range, and maybe that's it now. Maybe this is your range. We're actually above the value area high, so naturally, if bulls were interested to get involved, you would expect them to hold this value area high. Yeah, this would be a very good place for bulls to get involved, to hold the price for continuation. But the way for bulls to get involved now would be limit orders to absorb the sellers. And you basically just have to absorb all of the sellers, the market sellers. Eventually there'll be an exhaustion of sellers. And then when you get an exhaustion of sellers, the price will naturally start to go back up on its own. Yeah, because there are buyers, and that's the thing. People are buying every day. I'm buying every day at the moment. So as long as there's more sellers than buyers, the price will go down. But what I usually do is I market buy red candles. That's what, at the bottom of red candles, I usually market buy. Now, it's very possible, because of the fractal that I have been following with ADA, and let me bring it up quickly. It's very possible that that we're following the ADA fractal, and so I've raised this similarity many times, and I think it's good to just keep an eye on it, because sometimes these fractals do play out perfectly. It's very hard to trade fractals, but sometimes if they do play out and you can trade it, then it's very, very profitable. It could be very profitable, because it just prevents people from prematurely entering if the fractal is playing out. Where is ADA? I guess I don't know where it is. Hold on. It must be here. Maybe. Let's stay there. Travel, bags, Ava, crypto Tony, interest. Must be there. Apologies. So it is. We lost it. Give me a second. I just got to figure out what I've done. There it is. Right. So if you go back to the ADA fractal, let me just disconnect these things. This blue line here is the halving last bull market, and if I bring this to gate, so I'm using gate at the moment to compare. These are my bull market timings. So right now, if I look at the timings, this is the bull market when it begins, and let me see where we are first. See these blue lines? This is the blue bull market where it begins. So in this time round, we're at the end of April. Before, it was the beginning of May, right? So I just want to align the bull market beginnings. And I'm basing that idea on the Bitcoin halving, right? And so with ADA and with where we are now, so where we are now, if you go back in, and this is the weekly time frame, if you go back to where we are now, we're 12 bars behind, 12 bars, 12 weeks. As far as ADA is concerned, if I pull it 12 weeks, 12 bars, we are there. And so we're forming the highs here on that green hammer into the highs after an extended upward move. And we've kind of had a little bit of an extended upward move. And we are potentially forming the highs here. So there is similarity. There is a lot of similarity. And if people didn't sell into that pump, then actually the price would probably be up here or up here. Yeah. And it would be a lot more similar to ADA. And I think in ADA, it's very possible that no one sold into that. Whereas here we had people selling into this, right? So it's very possible that we're following the ADA fractal. And all of this reversal happened above the point of control, and we're above the point of control. The point of control is support until you lose it. So next week, which will be week 11, it's going to be this red candle. It is possible next week we go down. That will be week 11. And if we go down, we're going down from where we are now, roughly another 21% into the point of control. And ADA, when it went down 27% into the point of control. It's going to be very similar. It could be very similar the way the price is behaving. And the reason why the price behaves like that is exhaustion. It's like if the price can't get any further, it will just reverse, because eventually you're going to get more sellers than buyers, and that's how the market moves. And eventually you're going to get people take profit, and they're going to basically look for lower. And what you had with ADA is 3 weeks of red selling, 2 weeks went into the point of control, one consolidated at the point of control, the next week dumped, really dumped. Okay, I think if we're following the fractal, then after we dump, it's all up, because that's what I'm seeing on ADA. And then if we get some kind of coinciding with that, with Bitcoin dumping, potentially it could coincide with an extended rally for a dump like this. So possibly what I'm imagining in the future is something like this, where we coincide with Bitcoin dumping into some kind of price action like this. But actually what people will do is they'll wait for this token to fall back to some key support to load up again. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm imagining in the future. I'm not imagining that it's going to have a detrimental effect on TRVL in the future, but in the short term, I think it is very possible that this happens. Yeah, and this, I think, could coincide with Bitcoin dumping in the short term in the next 3 weeks. I think there could be some kind of similarities here. And you see here when ADA dumped, it was in March, and that was when Bitcoin dumped. You see that? This was like the March COVID low. And basically this was all COVID, wasn't it? And we might see some kind of similarity where Bitcoin does pull back now. And it could be possibly because of what I was explaining, of some kind of lower low on the higher time frame, which causes people to start closing their positions out. And then Bitcoin could possibly, let me go to it. Bitcoin could possibly, these are all possibilities. I'm not like saying this is going to happen. Bitcoin could possibly be forming some kind of ABC here, like an ABC correction here. And so the next step would be this, a down to go up, to go down. Now, this COVIDness is a black swan, right? And it is possible that what was forming in Bitcoin was some kind of inverse head and shoulders. It's just that because of COVID, it dumped. So there was a black swan. If COVID didn't happen, it's possible that could have just formed a higher shoulder, and it could have, it could have gone up. So this, I'm not saying this is going to happen, because that was a black swan. So you don't expect to see black swans. I've never seen a black swan in my life, in real life. Yeah, I've seen lots of white swans. I've never seen a black swan. So it's no, and we live in England. There's lots of swans here. So there's no reason to think that I'm going to see a black swan. But it is possible that Bitcoin is forming a higher time frame, deeper correction, and naturally speaking, that could cause this kind of behavior, and that could cause TRVL to dump. This kind of behavior could coincide with TRVL dumping. Yeah, I think if TRVL does dump, I'll be looking for this kind of rally up. And I think the best strategy, this is ADA, of course. Let me go back to TRVL. I think the best strategy with TRVL, like, I'm not advocating anyone selling at all. And I have TRVL, I'm not selling, right? I think I've spent a long time accumulating TRVL. I'm not looking to sell anytime soon, because because of the reality of what TRVL is. It's a very illiquid microcap. Yeah, it's hard to position into illiquid microcaps at good prices. It's really not easy, trust me. Now, if you've got a small position, you could probably sell and buy lower. You could probably do that, or sell half and buy back lower. See what happens if that's your positioning. If you have a much larger position, it's very difficult to get back into position unless we do see some kind of actual dump, and then it'll be a lot easier, because then you can just market buy and fill your bags at a much lower price. But then you want the price to go down significantly, because when you market buy with a large position, you're naturally pushing the price right back up. And at these ranges, in my mind, even though in fiat value there is a significant difference between where we are now and 45% down, the reality is, if I was to sell and try and buy back, the spread or the loss would be too much. It wouldn't be worth it. It wouldn't justify that kind of action, that kind of behavior. So at the lows, what I think is a better strategy, for me anyway, this is the strategy that I'm employing. Not only am I buying red candles just regularly, so I'm just continually dollar cost averaging in, and I'm not really fussed if my average is here or here or here. I'm not really fussed. I just see the whole range as the lows, and in the future I'm seeing us trading higher prices, and it doesn't really matter where my average is really in the scale of things. I'm not really too bothered about catching the absolute low. I'm not really bothered. But that being said, I have a large amount of capital just in case we do see another drop down. Yeah, I have a large amount of capital, and I will be buying that dip on TRVL. And if people want to sell, fine. I'm not going to force them not to sell. I still see this project as a good one, and I think we are in the lows, and if it goes down, I just see it as an opportunity to buy cheaper prices, and then I think people will lose their positions, and it'll be very, very difficult for them to get back in if they want to. In my mind, if we do follow the ADA fractal, then I'm thinking we're probably going to see another all-time low, right? Probably going to see another all-time low. I'll be looking to catch that. And I've already identified my targets. So I'm not really worried about whether it happens or not, because if it doesn't happen, then we've made a higher low, and that's bullish. And if it does happen, then I'm just going to pick up TRVL at a much cheaper price. So I'm content with that. And then I'm foreseeing that to be the final dip. I don't really see it going down again after that, because I think we'll be seeing a really bullish reversal at the lows, like a V shape. And I think once people see that, there'll be no more selling. But when I look at the extension on ADA, I saw that it extended all the way down to the 1.68. And so naturally, if we do go down to the 1.68 from where we are now, the price of TRVL will be dropping 80%. Yeah, 80%, that's a lot. I wouldn't mind picking up a large amount of TRVL at 80% discount. I really wouldn't. I think that'd be a really amazing buy. But now I don't know if I'm going to wait for 80%. I think what I'll be looking to do in the first instance is see if we get a swing failure. And if we don't, then I'll be looking to scale in at these key levels. Just scale in. Yeah. And I think I will be looking to catch the falling. This is the falling knife that I'm looking to catch. Now this happened on the weekly time frame. So let me just pull this to the daily time frame and see how it behaved on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, we dropped with the first daily candle, it went into the 1414. See that? And it closed above the 1272. And the next day it sold, and it went all the way down to the 1.618. And then you had another opportunity to accumulate at the 1.414. And at no point in time did we see a close underneath the 1.272. Do you see that? This is ADA. So I am looking to see if we have similar behavior. I think the 1.272 would be a good place to pick up TRVL at 1.2 cents. And I think if people can get it lower, then the best way to do it is to put limit orders, because it'd be very difficult. It could be quite fast, and it'd be quite difficult to fill a large amount of bag size just by market buying those lows. It'd be difficult. I don't know how easy it will be. And I think this you see this green candle in ADA, you see how much volume there is on that candle. Look how much buying there was, and naturally a lot of people sold for that buying to happen. See that big long red candle, big dump, and it was bought right back up. A lot of volume there, and that signified the bottom, that large volume. And then the rest was just the price kind of slowly working its way up, because all of a sudden the small fish started to re-enter, and then the rest just as soon as we got back up into this range here, that was your sign of strength. And once you get a sign of strength like that, people started market buying again, and the rest just it was just non-stop. Then people were just rallied and rallied and rallied. Yeah. And so naturally I'm looking for this price action to replicate itself. I think we could see this in the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. Yeah. And that would coincide very nicely with the Sensei launch. Yeah. And I think Sensei is looking to launch at the end of February or the beginning of March. And so there is some kind of weirdness going on in terms of the timing. It's very weird, but whatever. I don't know. Is it manipulated? I don't know. I don't think so. It looks like it's manipulated, but I don't think so. And then if I do this Fibonacci time This is KuCoiner. Let me go back to Gate. If I do this Fibonacci time, not that one. Where is it? There, that's it. So this is the weekly time frame, and I'm expecting a really big fib time on 18th of March 24. That week. That's a really big fib time for me. In my mind, that's a really key time. And I'm actually wondering if we do go down. I'm wondering if we do go down. Delete this. And follow the ADA fractal. And basically that week, we start going up. I'm just wondering if this is going to happen. Something like this. It'd be very spookier if that happened. And if this happened, then this would be the 0 of our wave 1. And then I'm looking for the wave 1 to follow the ADA fractal, probably all the way up to 20 cents. Something like that. Wave 1 down to 9 cents. And just continue then. Just go up and up and up. And then if I compare that with ADA, I do. Oh my god. Oh my god. Literally ruined my charts. It's really easy to ruin your charts in TradingView. You just click something and it just disappears. Oh, it's back to NVIDIA. So let me go to the weekly time frame. So yeah, so ADA ADA had 3 red extremely bearish weeks. 1, 2, 3. So I'm not going to look to, I'm going to see if this plays out basically. I'm not going to look to catch the falling knife in the first 2 weeks. I'll be looking to catch the falling knife in the 3rd week. And then I'll be, if we do lose the point of control, then I am expecting a big sell into the lows. Yeah. And I think the reason that happens, or that could happen, is because there's a large amount of volume in this candle. Oh, it's gone to green again. What the hell? I hate this. And so there's a lot of trapped liquidity if the price starts going down. And I don't think people are anticipating up. And naturally speaking, as the price goes down, people are going to sell. Yeah, and that's just the way people behave. They fear the worst when their portfolios go into negative, and rather than have a plan to buy more or to just exit before they take losses, what they'll do is the minute it goes into negative, and generally speaking, what I'm imagining is that most of the price action, most of the accumulation happened in this range here. Yeah. So if the price does manage to get below that, you're going to get a big sell, because people will just be, well, I'm not going to allow my portfolio to go negative. going to sell and then see what happens. And also, the minute we make another all-time low, if we make another all-time low, and that's going to be questionable. I can't predict that that's going to happen because I just don't know how much interest there is at the 25, 24, 23, 22 cent mark. Like, it is also possible that there's someone waiting in the sidelines with a large amount of capital, and they're just happy to set a nice big limit order here. Yeah, they don't really care about lower. They just want people to sell into their position, and they're just happy to have a nice big limit order. That'll be quite bullish too. Like, we'll see how the price behaves, because what will happen is in that last push down, you'll get really high volume and the price won't move. The price will just stop. Yeah, we'll know if that happens because we'll get a massive volume going down, like red volume will be off on the charts, and the price would have gone nowhere. So you can then say, well, naturally speaking, there's a big limit order that's just sucked up all of the price at that level, and that's bullish. That's what you want to see. So you either want to see lower prices, or you want to see a big limit order suck up all of the volume in that downward market selling. And then when you come up, so ADA went down from the 1.618 at the low, 900%. So it 9x'd from that low. I don't know why we wouldn't do the same. Like, I don't see why we wouldn't do exactly the same thing, considering that it looks like we're following the same path. So a 9x from that 1.68 would take us to sorry, that's wrong. Hold on. It's a lot. 9 cents, and I don't actually want us to get back up to 9 cents. I want us to break 9 cents. I'm not fond of that idea of going back up to 9 cents and selling into 9 cents. It may happen. I would rather us make a so when it comes to market structure, let me explain. Get rid of this shit. Right. So when it comes to market structure, we have to make a higher time frame reversal in terms of market structure. We haven't confirmed that yet. We've done a daily market structure reversal. So in the daily time frame, we're bullish at the moment still. But on the weekly time frame, if you look at this chart, you can clearly see that we have lower highs, lower high, lower high, and what we're forming now potentially is another lower high. Yeah, and so as you can see, the price is making lower highs, and also we're making lower lows. It's a lower low, right? So as far as I'm concerned, our weekly market structure is still bearish, right? The way to change our weekly market structure is quite simply, we have to make a higher high above 14 cents, above this level, which we haven't done yet. And that would be a higher high. Once you make a higher high, you have to make a higher low and make another higher high. And then you've changed weekly structure from lower low to higher high to higher low to higher high. That's a weekly structure market change. The minute you change that market structure, downtrend has ended on the highest time frame. Yeah, we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. If you don't have enough liquidity, enough market buys to push the price up above 14 cents, which looks like it's happening. I'm not saying it is, but it looks like it's happening. Yeah, it looks like it. Because look, we've had this buy, the liquidity's all gone, and we've had 3 weeks of basically nothing. There's really the follow through has been diminishing. Yeah, I can see that. It's obvious. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. we've had a lot of news announcements and we haven't really had a significant uptake on that. Okay. And then I think part of the problem, as I've always said, is the lack of token value. Yeah, the lack of token. So a lot of it is speculative value. A lot of it's to do with speculation right now. It doesn't mean this project is bad. It doesn't mean it's not a good project. It doesn't mean that this token isn't going to go and do well in the future. It just means that the charts and the price action is reflecting what's happening at the moment. That's all. That uncertainty and that lack of future knowing is preventing people from pushing the price up right now, because they don't feel like they need to buy as much as they can now. Yeah, they don't feel like, no one's feeling that. No one's feeling that you need to market buy. People are just very patient, calmly accumulating with limit orders or small market orders. That we don't feel that FOMO urge right now. No one's feeling that, right? And that's why the price is stuttering at this higher range, the higher of this range. That's what I feel. So if we do confirm a lower high, then the question is going to be, do we take out this low or not, right? If we get a large limit order, like I would say $1 million or plus here, then in the next 3 weeks, if we do go down and follow that ADA fractal, it's possible that all of the price is going to be absorbed by limit orders and we make a higher low here, right? It's very possible that that happens. You still have a lower high. That's still not a higher high. You still haven't made a higher high. But then what you're forming now is some kind of this. Yeah, you're forming some kind of equal triangle at the lows. Yeah, and that could happen too. Yeah, that's another way that we can get out of the lows in terms of how the price can behave. So if we don't follow the ADA fractal, if we have a change of behavior, and that change of behavior is going to be a big limit orders absorbing the price to make a higher low here, that's very possible. Then I'd be expecting the price to come up, not to make a higher high here, and the price to be sold into, and we're forming some kind of equal triangle. And then we just have to be patient while this just plays out until we get, hopefully we get a breakout to the upside. And it could also happen that we get a fake out to break out, you know, that's also possible. So that's a possibility that I'm contemplating in the near to the medium to future, to higher time frame future. But if we do follow the ADA fractal, this is what's going to happen. I'll explain. Yeah, in terms of market structure, if we create an equal triangle here, you still need to break the 14 cents mark to create a higher high. If you do like a lower high, a higher high, whatever, this is still the higher high to beat, because your lower low is still here. That's still your higher high to beat. You still have to get up there to form a higher high. You still have to do that. You know, you still need that price action. It's just more likely when you're forming this kind of pattern. It's just more likely to happen because this is like a constricted range, and then you have a breakout. You know, it's just more likely. That's all. But if we do make a lower low here, and to make a lower low, we have to go down past the all-time low. Yeah. So, and there's no reason why we go crazy all the way down. I'm not saying we're going to go all the way and follow ADA. It is possible that there's enough liquidity underneath this all-time low here that we just do a swing failure and come back up. And that's your, then what happens is this becomes your lower high. This becomes your, however low this gets, this becomes your lower low. Yeah, you're still in bearish market structure, but it makes it a lot easier to make a higher high now, because before you needed to get above 14 cents, and now you only need to get back above 9 cents. Yeah, does that make sense? So it just makes it easier to change market structure. And if there's enough liquidity to take us back above there now, we've made our higher high on the weekly time frame. We haven't been able to do that yet. Yeah. And then depending on if that extends further or not, then we only need to make a higher low, and then we're in a higher high, and then we're pumping, because then we have confirmed weekly market structure change. And a price action like that would also kind of look like an inverse head and shoulders on the higher time frame. So it does look nice in terms of the way patterns are formed. That it's basically market structure changing. Yeah. And ideally though, if we're following ADA, then ideally what I'm imagining, hold on, let me just get rid of these. What I'm imagining is a really amazing rally as far as possible, and to come back to 9 cents and form support. This would be the best way to come out of this. An impulsive wave one as far as possible, and then for the reaccumulation to happen at 9 cents, and that would be perfect. That would fit perfectly to flipping this support and resistance line into support for continuation. And that this would be what I'm envisioning. If it was ADA, this is what happened. You formed a wave one there, you had a wave two here, and then the wave three was ultra bullish. Like if you look at ADA and how it happened, you had the wave one here, you had the wave two back into 9 cents. It was there for a good part of 2 months. Yeah, this is called reaccumulation. The wave three was really nice. The wave four was very flat, and you had a wave five which took us into the higher part of that channel, slightly overextended, but basically it went into the high of that channel. Even if you exited it at that high, you were fine, you know, and there was a little bit of a flat reaccumulation at the highs. It would be very nice price action for us if we were able to achieve that. Yeah. Just get rid of these squiggles. And if we did follow ADA, now I don't know if we go lower than the all-time low or we crash. I can't predict that, right? But if I bring my channel, that's the one. If I bring my so probably wave one into that channel about 20 cents, wave two back down into the 9 cents mark, and you'll confirm an SR flip. We're there for about 2 months. ADA was there about 2 months. You're confirming an SR flip on this range. So you go, basically you're going into the upper range back to back test this, the top of this lower range. Wave three, according to ADA, the wave three took ADA into the top part of this channel. Really impulsive move. That would mean we're going to the all-time high and probably higher. Yeah. And then you had a wave four would probably somewhere like a flat correction for a final push, which would be a wave five, could potentially go up to the top part of this channel, which would take us to the higher numbers. Yeah. If this is a more bullish scenario in the highs. Yeah. Because you'll get a smaller wave five, but you're still making higher prices. A much more bearish scenario would be a slightly deeper correction on the four, and you have this would be more bearish on the higher time frame. You have a really bullish three, so that would be your key profit take. And then a bearish scenario would be the price would correct all the way back down to like the 5 cents, and then you have one last push and it will just take us maybe back to the previous order. That's more bearish, yeah, but you're still forming the correct Elliott wave structure. This would be more bullish. I'm imagining a more bullish scenario, just simply because at the end, you know, retail, they're going to see Dtravel, they're going to see Sensei, they're going to see all the front facing stuff, and they're going to get very bullish about it with a good marketing campaign, Airbnb killer, all that kind of stuff. I don't see why we can't push to the higher numbers. Dan is asking, if you had no travel TRVL but 10k to invest it in, at which level would you buy and how much? I mean, I don't think it matters where you buy 10k if you're buying in the lows, yeah. But what you don't want to do is go all in with your 10k and for the price to drop and have no more money to put in with the drop. I think that would be psychologically detrimental. Yeah, to go all in with your 10k now and then have no money for a dip. I think psychologically you're going to be in trauma, and if you don't have the ability to deal with that, then that would be a mistake. So there's two ways to go about it. You'd probably look to pick up half as low as possible on the point of control. The point of control is always a good place to enter because the point of control always behaves like a magnet. Yeah, so even if you enter at the point of control, which is right now on gate, it's trading at it's about 2.9 cents. Even if you were to half position at the point of control, it doesn't really matter if the point of control holds and it goes up, because then you can scale the rest in, and if it goes down you can put half the position lower down on the pullback, and you're just getting an average. You're just averaging in. Maybe say basically averaging in is going to be the safest way of entering without a significant loss in USD value. You're maximizing your position without the stress of knowing when and how and when and what levels to enter with. I think averaging in is going to be the safest strategy for everyone. Yeah. That being said, we are nicely potentially following this fractal. Yeah. So you could do one of two things. You could wait for this to play out, wait for it to settle, and then enter. And so you won't catch the absolute low, but you will be catching the low. And if this plays out, after you enter, it's only up. Yeah. And that then you're maximizing your value if this plays out. So right now, after this week, we're probably looking for potentially, if the ADA fractal plays out, 3 red weeks. So you wait for the 3 red weeks to play out. And then you can still scale in, or you can just start buying 1,000 a day for the next 10 days. Potentially you could do it like that, or you could buy 2,000 TRVL, $2,000 in for the next 5 days, because ideally what you're looking at after this plays out is green, 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 green. You see that? You see all these greens? And so potentially you're looking for that kind of behavior. But to be safe, just in case the price does go down and it just goes down like that, because it could, you never know how the price can behave. It could go down, and it could do this. It could form an inverse head and shoulders, or it could do what it did before. It could form some kind of double bottom. You know, price can do many things. So I think scaling in at the lows is always the safest strategy. I think David is right. Buying red weekly candles is also a really good strategy. I'm buying less at the moment, like a smaller amount on every day. I'm not really fussed right now about the price because I'm building a bigger position and I'm not really phased by these price fluctuations. But that being said, I have a large amount of capital. I will be looking to buy the dip. I will be, yeah. And I think that's a really nice, that's a really good planning. And again, I'll be looking for the reaction. If we get a higher, I prefer a higher low actually. If we get a higher low, it's going to look more bullish. But a V shapes are also bullish, so a V shape is bullish too. I like the idea of a higher low because it just means there's a lot of, it just means the price was prevented from going lower. And the thing about a lower low here is that our targets change. And so I just want to explain this to you again. Yeah. So imagine if we are going down to the 1.618 to make another all-time low there, then we're going to have to redraw this fib retracement. So from the all-time high, so if we go from 1.56, I'm going to do it roughly, draw it all the way down to this one. That will be, imagine that's your all-time low. And then if you do a full fib on that, and do a full fib extension on that, then it's actually quite nice, huh? No, we have different targets basically. Let me just have a look. Hold on. So if we, like, it depends. Like if we, it depends on how low we get. If we go down to here or there, it all depends. But if we push down to all the way down to the 1.618, then, you know, $6.5 would probably be the big resistance if we extend. I don't really foresee the price going much higher than 6. I don't know if it would, I mean, it could potentially go up to 13, but then I wouldn't necessarily expect it to go further. Yeah. So it just changes your targets, that's all. And then it also change your fib levels as well. So let me just do a full fib. Oh, actually, look at that. That's amazing, isn't it? Look. So if we do go down to the 1.618, which is roughly about 0078 to make an all-time low there, then our golden pocket will come perfectly, the 618 will come perfectly at the 20 cent mark here. See that? And so that lines up perfectly with where the ADA fractal played out. So that's actually quite interesting. Huh? So these things have a way of working out, you know, the fibs, they all work out with the way the price moves. So, and then this 2, I'm expecting it to come back to 9. So if I was to do a fib from this low up to here, then that would be the 236. The 236. So to come up to here to down here, that would be the 236 fib. And then what you can do then, if that's your wave 1 and wave 2, it's looking messy, but it's not that messy. Then you're going from here to here to here to do a fib extension, which happens to be in black. I need to change the colors. And one-to-one would be about $2.4. Let me have a look at this. Hold on. Probably there, the 1.272, maybe $5.8 then. I'd be looking for $5.8 then on that extension, probably, because that's a trend-based fib extension from the 0 to the 1 to the 2. Then you can do a trend-based, and if we get a really nice impulsive move and we can get past the $2.4 mark, then I'll be looking for the next target, which is the 5.8. And then if we come back, you can do another fib. You can just do fibs to try and figure out your targets. Let's say from the 2 to the 3. Again, you could come back into the 236. At the very lowest, probably the all-time high, which is the back test of this channel, and then you're just going up somewhere like that to the top of this channel, something like that. I mean, it looks quite messy, but that's how you do it. That's how you do it. And when you're trying to create targets, but this is nice. So I am thinking of lower at the moment. Yeah, thinking of lower. Any questions? There's a few people watching. If we have a look at the news, so basically yesterday Dtravel announced some big things. I just want to go over it because I'm trying to understand it myself. So I'm just going to do it now with everyone. So this is quite interesting. We are excited to announce that Dtravel is now tokenizing all vacation rental bookings, bringing real world value on chain to Polygon on chain. This revolutionary approach to bookings will introduce new revenue opportunities for vacation rental operators, what they really mean is hosts, and greater flexibility for travelers via secondary sales, while opening up the possibility for DeFi, lending and borrowing. Our decision to build on Polygon POS is a result of our much anticipated Dtravel direct smart contract upgrade, which brings new utility to Dtravel's direct booking product suite for vacation rental operators. As a result of the upgrade, Nite Tokens, an ERC721 representation of a property Nite, are transferred from a vacation rental operator's listing smart contract to their guest's wallet using the Polygon POS network, a highly scalable EVM compatible chain necessary in supporting Dtravel Direct's increasing booking transaction volume and growth. Read the official release here. Okay, this is interesting. Designed to solve the costly, inefficient, fragmented infrastructure plaguing the vacation rental industry, the Nite protocol will act as a single API connection that anyone can read, write listing and booking data to, eliminating the need for duplicative data and expensive API connections. It aims to effectively dismantle isolated data silos, thus creating a cohesive system where data is transparent, accurate, and accessible to all industry participants, significantly reducing costs of building within the industry. As part of that solution, the Nite protocol will utilize Nite tokens as a single source of truth for bookings, allowing anyone to verifiably prove who holds the right to stay at a given property. The Polygon ecosystem is a clear leader when it comes to working with brands and bringing non-Web3 natives on chain. I'm not quite sure what this is. I think it's quite technical, right? I don't know. Does anyone get that same feeling? It's very technical, and I'm not quite sure. So this has taken me to this press release. Okay. So what is Dtravel? Grow and scale your hospitality business with Dtravel's innovative booking infrastructure. Accept crypto payments to lower fees. Eliminate the need for intermediaries and take control over your booking terms and payouts. Earn real value rewards with every transaction and participate in the future success of the Book Direct movement. Peer-to-peer, better economics, complete ownership, future-proof. Appeal to the modern traveler. Dtravel removes intermediaries and reduces fees. Smart contracts. Earn rewards and access demand channels. Open travel protocol. Recent press. Right. What do you guys think? Any thoughts? Polygon on chain. Vacation rentals are moving on chain. Dtravel is bridging real world assets to Web3, tokenizing fiat and crypto vacation rental bookings on Polygon POS. Through the platform, Dtravel DAO is introducing new revenue opportunities for operators and bringing unparalleled flexibility to the booking process for travelers via secondary sales, while opening up possibilities DeFi lending borrowing. The team is also spearheading the development of the Nite protocol, an open standard listing and booking protocol for the vacation rental industry. Nite tokens will serve as an essential component to the protocol, allowing anyone to verifiably prove who holds the rights to stay at a given property. These tokens will be transferred from a vacation rental operator's listing smart contract to their guest wallets using Polygon POS. Here. Dtravel is solving the most pressing challenges holding back the vacation rental industry. Guests, expensive rates, inefficient search, centralized reputation, Airbnb, data silo, centralized data silo, data supply manager, costly data feeds, duplicated listing data operator. Direct payment, property smart contract, commission free, TRVL rewards, TRVL rewards, peer-to-peer vacation rental website powered by Dtravel Direct. The Nite protocol, this is it. An open standard protocol for the travel industry, enabling efficient connectivity, listing management, and distribution data and data ownership. Property smart contract on the blockchain, OTA, pricing tools, OTA, channel managers, OTA, operator, property smart contract on the blockchain. Nite tokens, a smart contract standard to represent property nights as tokens on blockchains, giving the right to spend the night in the property for specific dates. So effectively what this is are tickets, like in my mind what I'm thinking this is like your flight tickets, but they're transferable, but they're not for flights, which would make sense because airlines don't care about the people that come, they just want to fill the seats. I think this is trying to mimic the same idea, but the tickets, which are represented now as Nite tokens, are transferable, and you don't care about who comes, the guests that come. All you care about is filling your property, filling up your property basically. So the idea here is that you're not worried about who comes, but you're worried about occupancy. And in order to achieve maximum occupancy, people are allowed, so when someone books your property, the representation of the value, which will represent a stay, which is controlled by the smart contract. So it's basically what happens: you book a property, you'll get a Nite token. The Nite token will represent the stay that you've booked with the conditions attached. And that token, which is basically an NFT, that's what I'm gathering, is transferable. And you can now sell that token to someone else. And then whoever gets that token has the right, which is governed by the smart contract, to stay at that property. So it's basically transferable tickets, but it's not for like concerts or for flights where the operators don't care who comes, they just want to fill the stadium, or they just want to fill the crowd or fill the seats. This is now, they're trying to do this for vacation rentals. I love the idea, but I don't know if this is the right application. That's my initial thoughts. Not to be bearish about this concept because it's very innovative, and I think if we achieve it, it's going to be game changing. But I think there are some problems which needs to be addressed, and I think part of the problem for me as an Airbnb host, super host, is I need to know who's coming, and I also need to know that the guests are good guests, safe and good. They're not going to wreck my place because it's my property. I'm not going to allow people to come to my property in a vacation rental if they're bad guests, and if they don't have good reviews. I may wonder who they are. Now, it doesn't mean I don't I do get guests who have booked my properties who I have no idea about. They don't have any reviews. I usually am willing to accept those types of guests, but there is a danger here that someone will resell your property to questionable people. and also for questionable purposes. You can't define the purposes. Generally speaking, my target market is established to prevent problems. And now, if that's being resold, then you can get people buy and sell to bad people potentially, especially if there's something really lucrative, very nice. And I don't know, there's the questions, huh? I'm not sure how this is going to work, because I'm not sure if people are going to be willing to accept that. I'm not sure. I don't know if this is the right market, actually. I actually think this would be really good for flights, because flights are problematic when it comes to tickets, because they're not transferable. It'd be good if you can buy a flight and then you can buy flights on a second-hand market. You can resell your flights on a second. That would be really good, huh? Flights or concert tickets. That would be really good if you can buy and sell concert tickets, event tickets on a second-hand market. I'm not quite sure that this is the right product marketplace, but I mean, it is very possible that the tech is all that matters, but I'm not sure that we're going to be able to succeed in the first instance with apartment vacation rentals, with short vacation rentals. I'm not sure. Okay, I think there's some questions there. I like the idea though. And then the other question is going to be this data feed, how to streamline the data feed, because there seems to be some kind of cost, and I'm not quite sure about the technicals. And so the question is, are channel managers, etc., or OTAs going to be writing applications to access this Nite protocol? And I don't know how that's going to work either. And I guess the idea is that they're using TRVL as a form of currency to access this protocol, and that's going to be inherently cheaper. I don't know. Nite protocol. So the Nite protocol basically allows for data to be entered onto the blockchain about the guests' reservations. And then you're also allowing other people to access that data at a cost. The cost is going to be paid in TRVL. And that's where TRVL value comes. It's going to be the gas of this protocol that's being developed. And so naturally, what we have to see is the uptake in third parties connecting to this protocol to access information, and how that develops and how that grows. Yeah. Got to see how that plays out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's see. Is there anything else? If I have a look at the Telegram, where is it? Let me open the Telegram and see what's being said in the Telegram. A lot of people don't have access to the Dtravel Telegram, so it's good to have a look. Hold on. 1 second, let me just open it. Let me switch my screen. All right, this is the Telegram. All right. Got some nice press coverage. Focus Wire, short-term rentals, crypto slate. That's good. Lots of tweets. Jack Cassis says, I think Polygon is an excellent choice. I'm betting heavy in that environment. I'm thinking the system they're building will be one of the best L2 environments in Web3. when it is all set up. Even right now, it is still one of the best without the ZK stuff integrated. Right. Operator sign up, new booking site, I'll have a look at those. 3 new sites, that's good. Safety guy asks, will the new tokenomics include 1, buyback and burning of tokens, 2, staking rewards from yield generated from Dtravel? For me, these need to be non-negotiable if the TRVL token is to see longevity. Smitty responses, I'm not sure they would be looking at the roadmap, but I hope the same. James responds, yes, these elements are being considered as well as the long-term sustainability of such concepts. We're also clarifying TRVL governance so that going forward these discussions will be more productive. New operator. Crypto Dev Steve saying looking forward to the update. New operator. Let's go 0.02. Smitty, you want lower prices, huh? That's funny. He wants to buy more at lower prices. Oh my god. To add to the tokenomics, I do not think that Dtravel should aspire to make money in the way like BTC. I do not think this will work. I think in traditional finance, you have 2 ways to let investors participate in the success of your company. One is by using share buybacks, and the other one is by dividends. I think these 2 ways translate to the burning of tokens and staking benefits. With crypto, I think there is a third one. Increase the usage of the utility token, and it's required holding time for certain actions. This translates to scarcity of the available amount of token, and over time makes the value of the token go up. To me, this has several advantages. Regulatory advantages, true utility token versus equity token, and interesting narrative tax advantages. Ferry, that was very well put. I'm not sure why you don't think we should aspire to make money in the way like BTC, when BTC is the best. And I don't know why you think this one won't work, but I would like to know why you don't think it will not work and why we shouldn't. But you have an opinion, and that's really important. I think in traditional finance you have 2 ways. So share buybacks. So share buybacks can only really work when you have crazy income, which we don't have. And how long are we going to wait for that to happen? And then how much income are you contemplating? I'm not sure there's going to be that much necessarily. You know, you're going to need a really high volume to compensate for the small fees. So I'm not sure it's going to be that successful, share buybacks. But effectively you're saying burning as well, no? Because that's what you mean by share buybacks. You're basically saying we're burning, so you're reducing the supply. Is that what you mean? Or do you mean that with the dividends you're market buying token? So I think they both have implications, different implications. Buying back tokens still means you have tokens that circulate, and burning just means that there's less tokens. So I guess buybacks means burning, right? Because that's what it means, reducing the number of shares. And then the other one is by dividends. So dividends corresponds to staking. That's going to come from the income, which at the moment is insignificant. Yeah, you said burnings. Translate to burning and staking, yeah. And then increase the usage. All right. I think the biggest, like for me, when I consider the tokenomics, at the moment, we're targeting vacation rentals. And naturally speaking, we're targeting Airbnb. Effectively, we're targeting Airbnb. As an Airbnb host, I'm not going to come onto this platform because of Nite Tokens. Yeah, it doesn't really interest me for many reasons. But I'm not going to just pull myself away from Airbnb because of Nite Tokens. I'm not like going, wow, Nite Tokens, the revolutionary way to make money on the secondary market. It's going to take time to build that marketplace, right? And it may take a lot of time. And it's going to largely depend on participation. And in the first instance, I won't participate. I'm not going to participate quite simply because I will need to know who comes and stays in my property, and I need to make sure that I'm comfortable with who they are. But most hosts are going to be in that same position. Most are going to be in that position. Okay, so there is already questions about whether that can succeed in this market. We have to see how that plays out, but there are questions, and those questions are barriers and hindrances in my mind when it comes to how we can beat Airbnb or defeat Airbnb, is in the value that we give our hosts, because naturally we need to take hosts away from Airbnb and bring them to Dtravel. So on one hand, it could be cheaper, but on the other hand, people need to be making more money. And I don't see how that's going to happen in the short term with Nite Tokens. I can't see it right now. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future. I don't think it's going to be enough of an incentive to catalyze the growth of Dtravel in the short space of a bull market, which is about 1.5, potentially 2 years. Yeah, maybe over the next 10 years it's possible, but in the shorter space of a bull market it may not be possible. So in my mind, if we want to accelerate growth, we have to give our hosts more reason than just slightly reduction in fees, and they have to be a real incentive. And so I think the Bitcoin model is probably the best way to accelerate our growth in the shortest space of time, because it becomes very lucrative for the early hosts and the early adopters. And that's why in my previous videos I was talking about the idea of Bitcoin mining. In the early days, Bitcoin mining was very lucrative, and it led to exponential growth of the initial network. And I can't see how we can grow fast without that kind of idea of tokenomics. And I think that's going to be key to our success, growing really fast, because that's what we need to do. We need to grow so fast. We need to become so big that it will be a cascading avalanche where people will just flock to Dtravel from Airbnb. Then in the latter parts of that growth, it won't matter, because we've grown so big that it won't matter about how much people earn through TRVL mining. We would just become big, you know, and people come because we're big, not because of necessarily the tokenomics. So I think in the initial instance, we have to grow our network as quickly as possible, as fast as possible. I can't say that this Nite Tokens thing is going to do that. I don't know if people are going to be, I can't like go to another Airbnb host and say, they're going to ask me, why should I come to Dtravel? Oh, have you heard of Nite Tokens? Have you heard of this innovation? And how you can resell your Nites can be resold on the secondary market or whatever, you know, like, I don't know how much of a sell that is. I don't know if I can sell that. Yeah. So it's also about the sell. Whereas in terms of tokenomics, okay, share buybacks, sure, but we don't have the revenue to do that. And then staking benefits. Well, where's the value coming from staking? Where's the value coming from staking? Are you going to print value? Well, that's not going to work. And then you've got all of this supply that's locked up. You're still diluting the circulation, and it's arbitrary. It's not real value. It's not based on network activity. There's a lot of questions. So I talked about this in my previous videos, and we should have a conversation about this, because we can have a really good conversation, and I'll explain to you the why, because I'd like to know the why in your ideas. And Cynthia adds to that that input. There are basically two things that people want addressed: deflationary mechanisms and token holder value benefit value accrual. Burning buybacks, dividends, and staking walls are some options to solve the above, but it's not exhaustive. Your comments are spot on that there are advantages and disadvantages to different solutions, and what we're trying to ensure we optimize this for long-term viability. Yeah. But I think ultimately, like, I don't know why people are so anti-Bitcoin, because it's like they've succeeded. I'm sure we can improve on Bitcoin, but as an initial template for going forward, I think Bitcoin would make sense. I don't know why it doesn't make sense, you know. And my perspective is from a host perspective. I don't know if people are looking at this from the eyes of the hosts. I think there's a lot of people who are looking at it from the eyes of different eyes. But I'm just trying to think, how do we grow our host network as fast as possible? And the incentive of extra value earned through rewards in some sort of Bitcoin model is an easy sell. Because now you're using your property as a mining rig. And that, if you can implant that idea into property owners, thinking that now with their property they can earn the new Bitcoin, that will have a more of a profound effect than any other idea that I'm seeing. The innovation is fine, but I think you have to innovate afterwards or at the same time, but not primarily just innovate and then hope for the best. There's a lot of hopium in what I'm seeing, and we don't know if it's going to succeed or not. A lot of innovation in the world falls flat, you know. And basically what you're doing, what we're seeing now, is a prototype of an idea that may or may not succeed. And I think there's been no market research actually as in terms of host uptake. Like, I'd like to see I would have liked to have seen market research presented before we invested so much time and energy into Nite Tokens. Yeah, I think we should have seen a survey of hundreds of, maybe thousands of hosts to see whether Nite Tokens would have an uptake. I can't say that I have seen that yet, and as a host I'm not convinced about that. Staking is inflationary, Crypto Siva says, but lockup aspects prevents overflowing supply. Buyback and utility are good mechanisms, but overall utility drives the product. The easier to use, the more likely it's to be used. Let's see what the team come back with. All right, let's have a look at these properties. That's quite interesting. You see that? This is a brand new property. Italy. You want to go to Italy? So an apartment in Napoli, an apartment in Napoli. Let's have a quick look. Would you stay there? Naples, huh? Look at that. A cozy house in the heart of the historic centre. It's quite cheap, huh? 4 guests, 2 bedrooms. I'm not sure about that. What is that? It's like it's dodgy, a dodgy bunk bed. Oh, it's very simple, but it's quaint, you know. It's cute, it's quaint. Look at that. That's pretty. Look at Like, I mean, despite the simplicity of the apartment, look where you're going to live. In that respect, it's just a place to come and sleep at the end of the day, really. It's nice. It's cheap. Very cheap. Not too far from the harbour. Look at that. That's nice. He's not on Airbnb. Look how cool that is. Look, not on Airbnb. That's perfect. So we've got a property on Dtravel that's not on Airbnb. How amazing is that? That's amazing. All right, let's have a look at another one. There's another one that's opened up. Check this one out. Istanbul. Ooh. There's 3 properties in Turkey. Turkey. Istanbul. Check these out. Okay. One is by the coast, one is by the river, and one is somewhere else. Let's have a look at the... Oh, look at this. Nice. It's a villa. It's a villa. A stunning mansion at Bosphorus Emirgan. Embrace the historic allure of wooden ornamentation complemented by modern amenities for your comfort. Indulge in the vast garden, offering a tranquil oasis amidst the bustling city, located conveniently to the Bosphorus. Immerse yourself in the captivating ambience where history meets modernity. Smoking is allowed. No parties. Again, look at this. He's not on Airbnb. Check that out. So you can book an apartment or a house that's not on Airbnb. It doesn't look like it is. I'm not fond of these beds. But that's a nice garden. Look at that. That's nice. Again, this is quite quaint. Look at that. That's a nice hallway. What is that? Is that a jacuzzi? Is that a bath? Look, they got a sauna. I think that's a hammam. Where's their main bedroom? I'm checking out. We've got a little play area for kids. Got a well. See the main bedroom. Is that it? Kitchen. Nice big fridge. There it is. What about this one? A jacuzzi on balcony with Prince's Island view. This one. Wow, look at that. That's cool. Can you imagine that being there? It's nice, huh? That's the selling point, huh? That jacuzzi on the balcony and the balcony. That's why there's no pictures of the inside. Okay. Again, it's quite simple. A little bit modern. It's quite modern, actually. This is nice. I'd stay here. How much is it? It's cheap as well. Look, 68 pounds a night. Go for a week. Cheaper, £460. Reserve it. Pay with crypto. Okay. So it's interesting. You can only pay with crypto here. What does it say if you don't have a wallet? Install MetaMask on your browser. Okay. That's cool, huh? You can pay with crypto, and it's not an Airbnb. You can book this apartment in Istanbul. All right, that's that. That's my little Dtravel update. David was asking me about EXO.